So today we're going to talk about helmets and helmet patterns and design. Okay, before we get into the specific patterns and designs, we need to talk a little bit about the measurements you're going to want to get for your helmet design. And you can get those with like a tape measure. This is a tailor's tape measure or sewing tape measure. Or we can get a piece of string and use it as our measure. Just wrap it around your head. This is one of the measurements you want to get. And then we measure it out. And that comes out to about 24 inches. So that measurement's what I'm going to go with for my head. Also, I'm going to use my tailor's tape measure now. Also, you're going to want to get the measurement from the back of your head, right where at the base of the neck there, where you want the helmet to cover. You want to cover the base of your neck, all the way down to right between your eyes, just to give you an idea of what your helmet should cover. And you can just look at your tape measure there, and I got a measurement of almost 17 inches. So I'm going to go 17 inches or so. Other measurements you might want to get are like around the face and the head where your mask is going to cover. You're going to come around, get a measurement there. What's your measurement? That one's about 25 inches. Okay, so we know what our basic measurements are from those few measurements there. Now, we've got the approximate measurements, but we want to give a little room for padding or head cover. And some ideas about that. You can just use a regular head wrap with maybe a couple of them to give you a little padding, and that you need extra room for that if you're going to do that. Or just put a little extra padding inside your head wrap. That's actually old school, historical. What we have now is we've got closed cell foam, and this is foam that's not going to soak up your sweat and anything else that's going on in your head. This is just a pipe insulation from the hardware store. You can get insulation that has sticky backing on it. This is just some stuff I had laying around to show you what I'm talking about. But you can cut this into strips and either get the stuff with the sticky on the back or double-sided tape, or even glue it in if you're going permanent. And you're going to glue your pieces in the places where you're going to need the padding in kind of a spoked pattern. Can we see that okay? Got a good look at that? Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. Another good source of padding for your closed cell foam padding is sleeping mats, camping sleeping mats, which they sell at like Walmart. This happens to be an Army one, which is a little bit denser closed cell. The mats you get from Walmart and the like are a little bit more spongy like this, which I find to be a little bit cushier on the head. This is actually hard, but the thing about the harder stuff is it doesn't compress down and get real thin like the more open-celled foam. Anyway, that's just some examples of some ideas for padding, and the reason I'm talking about that is because on your measurements you'll want to provide enough room for padding. Now, on to the patterns. This particular helmet here, I've got the pattern laid out that I used for this helmet. For anybody that's interested in making this design here. All of these pieces are just, this is your top piece, and it goes across the top here. And we form it, we wet form our leather, our vegetable tanned leather. And I use the inside of an old steel Army helmet And it's the old ones, not the new Kevlar ones. It's the old steel pots is what we call them. And I've just got it in a basket to keep it steady there when I'm forming my piece in. When I get my leather wet, I shove it down in here, and then I come in with some wood tools that, you know, and I press it down in there. And this is a wooden like piece from a mortar and a pestle type of thing that I found at a garage sale. They're real cheap. I'm gonna pull that out of there, and then I'll actually rivet the pieces together. And I'll do a tutorial on actually doing this if you guys are interested in that. But then we form it again after we've got it riveted. And I'll actually put the piece of leather on my head and form it to an actual skull, because that's what's going to go on. So the pieces that are cut out of here, the leather pieces, they're what go into this right here. And that goes in there, and we rivet them in. As you can see on the pattern here, I've got all the rivet holes marked. And so once I've got them in there, I go ahead and mark them in, and then it all rivets in and goes together. And then got the cheek pieces. Those just go on the side there, underneath. Goes across the back, wet formed to shape. The eye guards, these guys here, are just pieces like this that were cut out of pieces like this, and then they're wet formed and pinched into a nice hard bar-like piece. So yeah, there's the mouthpiece, the face guard that covers the face. This part here.
Can't see it.
Right there. Of course, it's wet formed. So that gives you an idea of that's just a simple kind of basic normal helmet form. Now I've got some patterns here that are a little different than a regular helmet. That forms how we make our skull. This is the pattern to make a skull helmet. And it fits on like so.
Yeah.
And that's just a matter of taking the pieces, taking this one big piece and wet forming it until it hardens, and I can get these nice ridges that I can pinch together, and they keep their form pretty good. So.
Sandy. Maybe sandy.
And then I'll sand the inside of that to smooth it out, because it's usually rough inside of there. That it makes it a little nicer on your head. That's it for the skull. Got another one here. That goes to make something like this. And this is actually, I did a little freestyle on this. I just used this as my basic form and found a piece that was about the size but had a lot of its own character that I just left on. And so it made more or less an asymmetrical design in the end, which is kind of what I was liking about it. So that gives you an idea of what you can do to make helmets for your armor. This piece here, that's just about all of it is chrome tan leather that was put together as a kind of a gladiator sort of face head protection sort of thing. And if nothing else, people will be sorry for trying to punch you in the face. And here's one of my popular designs. This was actually the Alien. This is my design for the Alien Predator helmet. That's very popular, and then we put the leather dreadies onto that, which makes it look pretty cool. Well, yeah. This guy here. This is all freestyle. This was just a bunch of pieces that I had laying around that weren't getting used, so I just started slapping them all together. Didn't really have a pattern. I used patterned pieces that were extras, so it's made up of a lot of different patterns that I'm not going to show you right now. But I like doing that kind of thing. We do a little freestyle, and you probably all remember this from my first video. But it's the ever popular Samurai, and we've got it's based on Samurai legend of the bird samurai, the Tingyu, that actually trained the samurais in their martial arts. So yeah, that's what that's all about. Just having a little fun with scrap pieces. Okay, so that's about it for helmets and designing helmets. I mean, you can come up with all kinds of different ideas for head coverings and headdresses and masks, and so it's just to have fun with it. If you liked one of these designs, you feel free to use it as best as you can. And if you have any questions about any of these helmets or any of these designs, feel free to ask me. If you have any questions about a design of your own that you need help with, feel free to ask. Throw me a comment. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. There will be more videos to come. Thanks.